Welcome back to the broadcast. You know, if you haven't been through it, then surely you know someone who has. And we're talking about divorce. It can get ugly. That is just a well-known fact. It's also a fact that in many cases, children get caught in the middle and they are forced to choose between the two parents. So parental alienation is a hard thing to deal with for any kid. So we've invited Wendy Archer to talk about this awful reality and what we can do as adults who are going through a divorce to make sure that the kids aren't affected by it, because these are effects that last their whole lives.
It really does. Parental alienation causes lifelong emotional trauma and damage to children, and experts call it the worst form of child abuse. So it really is something that we need to create a social awareness about.
So what is it exactly? What is parental alienation?
Parental alienation is when one parent tries to damage or destroy the relationship that a child has with the other parent.
And we should be clear about this, about what exactly destroying the relationship, because we say it that way and it sounds like there's, you know, something horrible happening, but it can be very subtle.
It can be very subtle. It can be mild or moderate or very severe. There are actually three types of alienating parents. One is what we would call naive or unintentional. They really don't realize what they're doing is harming their child.
So could they be doing things like, could they just make a flippant remark about, well, your dad, you know, if your dad would ever show up for anything, then he would know, you know, something like that?
Absolutely, all the time. You know, usually when we get a divorce, we're sad, mad, you know, we've got some hurt that we need to get over. We need to do some healing. So usually in the beginning stages of divorce, there is some alienation going on. And then as people heal, they get healthier, they start to recover, they realize that they need to stop engaging in those behaviors. So that would be very common in a divorce situation. But some parents are not realizing what they're doing, and then when they realize, they stop. Then there are more active alienators. They know what they're doing, but they just don't have good self-control.
So it's interesting, and we were talking during the break, when Brian and I went through our divorce, and this was like 11 years ago, however we felt about each other, we made a pact that the kids would come first, and we both stuck to it, and we co-parented. Even at times, if we didn't like each other and we would have a conversation on the phone that wasn't real nice, we would hang up, and still it was a co-parenting thing, where if the kids had a problem with their dad, I would say, he's your dad, and he would do the same. And if they got in trouble at dad's house, then the punishment would continue at my house, you know, if they were grounded or something. I don't understand why it's so difficult for people to understand that kids they're so easily affected by the way we act to each other, you know?
They are very easily affected, and in the extreme cases, some alienating parents are very obsessed and narcissistic. Unfortunately, those are the ones that are not going to stop their alienating behaviors no matter what. You know, there's a lot of do's and don'ts as far as co-parenting and parental alienation, but really the biggest rule of thumb is hold the other parent in high esteem. Treat them with respect.
Even if you don't really feel it.
To and in front of the children at all times. Treat them with the same respect that you did when you were in love with them, which is hard for some parents to do. You know, they still need to do some healing.
And don't you think that it's helpful for them as adults too? Because, you know, if they can remember what that was like to feel loving towards that person, then maybe they can live a life co-parenting with them where they can act a little more loving.
Absolutely. The only prevention to parental alienation is proper co-parenting.
So do you teach that in your group? Tell us about the group.
We do. We actually are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we have 11 chapters across the United States. One is here in North Texas, and we have monthly meetings on the second Wednesday of every month at Southlake Town Hall in Southlake. And
is it free?
It's free. Anyone is welcome. The mission of our organization is to provide awareness and education to the public and professionals about parental alienation and proper co-parenting.
Do you see people come in together, or do you see it more a separate thing?
Well, we've yet to have two divorced parents come together. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Usually it is the target.
Those are the parents that don't need it.
Right. It's usually what we call the target parent, the parent who is on the receiving end of the alienating behaviors. We also have had quite a few formerly alienated young adults come to our meetings and share with us how they felt as children that were dealing with parental alienation.
I'll bet that is so helpful.
It's very, very helpful, and I wish that everyone everyone could have that experience to speak to a formerly alienated child, to really hear how their hearts are breaking.
In ways that you don't even realize it's happening. But I love that you do this group and that you're offering this as a free service to people, because it's one of those things that you might not think you need help with it, but if you're going through a divorce, chances are you do.
It's interesting. Everyone, either someone in their family has been through it, or they know someone who has been through it.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Can I share with you about an upcoming event that we have?
Of course, yes.
Okay, so next week on Wednesday, December 11th, we have our monthly meeting, and we have a licensed social worker joining us at that meeting. He specializes in high conflict divorce and custody situations, and he has a special emphasis on parental alienation reunification. So we would love for people to come and hear him.
And this is free too.
This is totally free. And then on January 10th, we have a film coming out called Divorce Corp. It's all about the family court industry, so to speak.
I love it. And this is all on your website, too.
Yes.
And the website is?
They can find us on Facebook at Parental Alienation Awareness Organization USA North Texas Chapter.
You know what? Or go to our website, thebroadcasttv.com. We'll have all the info for you, and we'll be right back.